Coleman here, and thank you for coming through for another chapter of Coleman on Purpose. This is chapter 9 we're getting into today. Last episode around, or last time, we had a bonus episode, which wasn't really considered a chapter, but I really wanted to get into some present day things that were going on that were kind of in my head at that time. So this is the second episode of this month of August, which is almost over. August has been very busy. You know, I've been getting everything that I needed to get done with my job and just reacclimating myself to some more things. And now, you know, this is Virgo season, so everybody's hype about being Virgos like myself, which I am end of the Virgo run, which I say I don't do too much astrology. I'm not deep into it, but I guess I'll get hype with all the other September and end of August babies. And I'm turning 40. So it's big for me, big turn up. So 9 and 10, chapters 9 and 10 that are coming up will be the last two chapters that I basically just chronologically discuss some of my story or tell more like very in-depth things about my life. We're going to be moving into more open episodes coming up where I am more in real time and I don't just cover things about myself. So I'm excited about that too, because like I said, this show is called Coleman on Purpose, so I want everything that I do to have a purpose. So we'll encompass some of those things, and we'll also invite some guests along to chime in to maybe cover some things we've talked about already, and then some things that may just pop into my mind. Anyway, this is chapter 9. We're getting into it. It's called Guarded Nature, and I believe this is the one episode where you'll just hear it. You can listen to it. And I decided, before I was thinking about it, I re-listened to all the episodes because I've taped them so long ago. I just want to make sure it's in sync with what I'm going to talk about in the intro and outro. But it was recorded, I think, back in May, I believe this one was. And so with me, you know, going through things, I was like, should I keep some of this stuff or should I edit some things? But I said, you know what, I'm going to keep this to the original organic nature of where I was at that time in that place and some of my thoughts about myself during that time. And then when we come on the outro, I'll address some of those things. So enjoy this chapter 9, Guarded Nature. All right, it is my truth time, and this chapter, we are going to take a look into something that I've wanted to discuss for a little bit of time because it lets you know my personality a little bit better, and it is on the topic of guarded nature. And I was recently having a conversation with my therapist about how hard it is for me to get close with someone. I was basically telling her that when I let people in all the way. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. My heart is open to you when you really are able to get into the full me. I honestly give you everything that you need. Like it's basically, you have my heart, you have my thoughts, you have my just everything is given. And I told her that's how I love, and that's how I've always learned to love. I looked at my examples, my parents, the love that was shown between them as a married couple. I looked at the love that I saw from people that always genuinely tried to love past everything that they saw. And I also said in the last chapter, when I was talking about get you a best friend, I was saying that people should think about things before they totally dismiss a person from their life. And I had to think about that for a while, and I was like, okay, I'm allowed to change and evolve and rephrase my statement, in which I have to say everyone is not going to love me or be committed to me just like I am to them. And I have to understand that that's just the world that we live in, that's who we surround ourselves with. So we have to come to that understanding that everybody is not going to love you the same way that you love them. And that is okay. So I had to kind of retract and think back to my statement, because sometimes you'll live in the moment of something and you'll be like, well, this is what I'm going to say, or you'll just be thinking. And I had thought about that while I was just walking around the track. And I said, you know what, that's unreasonable to try and force someone to love you the same way that you love. That's an unreasonable request. And I have to say that. So I can't expect that, because it's unrealistic, because their heart and their feelings aren't built like mine. They haven't had the same experiences. They haven't had the same heartbreaks. They haven't had the same love that I've been granted. So I can't expect that all the time. So I think I find it so difficult that people don't understand why I guard myself so much. And you know, it's something that you really can't explain. You just have to show it. And a lot of times I think that I'm in the wrong sometimes because of how guarded I can be. And then something comes along and it'll prove itself to be like, okay, I'm glad that I did that. But that could have also come from a result of me being so freaking guarded. I always place a lot of blame on the place I grew up the most, which is the church. But today I might surprise you, because today, even though I had crazy experiences in the church, I found myself letting my guard down more there than any other place. I have to say that, because there I was able to flourish as creatively as I wanted to. You know, I didn't feel very judged, even though I might have been. You know, I was able to express myself creatively in writing and doing plays and singing and doing mime, just different things. I was able to really let some of that passion out in that setting. And if I was to do like something creative or dramatic in like a school setting, it might have been taken a little bit differently, and it would have been looked at as, oh, this dude is a little wild, a little crazy, a little flamboyant, you know. And so I can't say that is, I can't place a lot of the blame on my guarded nature on the church, because I did have some good experiences and ways to express myself there. So I know that might be surprising, but I got to be honest here. It was within the close relationships that I had that either deteriorated or fell off, wherever I felt the most hurt, wounded, misunderstood. That is when that breakdown began to, I guess, happen with how guarded I was around other people. And sometimes I wonder why it takes me so long to peel off all of my layers to a person. I will be with a person for, you know, in a relationship or a friendship, and it really takes some unboxing for me to like kind of break through and get to those points. There's been very few people that have been able to just kind of like just take off all of that wrapping paper that's wrapped around my heart and just dive in regardless of whatever. And those are the people, of course, I love the most, because I'm like, oh my gosh, how are you able to do that so quickly? Because usually I'm very, they just had an openness about them, and maybe because they were at a different part in their life where they felt just very connected to me, and we were just able to peel those layers off very quickly. So I do sometimes wonder why it takes so long for me to do that. I'm a pretty forgiving person when it comes to like people either like doing me wrong or things that I feel were unnecessary. But once I've let my guard down from you and you've kind of like crushed my heart along the way, it takes me a while to build back, you know, the heart I put into getting to know you and to cherish you and to appreciate you as a person. I let you in. So once that happens, I have to build something back up, because like I said, those layers have all come off, and you kind of just took that wrapping paper, like crumpled it up, took the heart, tried to yank it out and throw it across the room. So I just feel like I'm the type of person that forgives and tries my best to forget it, but it's never the same when I feel like you didn't take my feelings into consideration when you chose not to reciprocate that same love. There it goes back again to what I was talking about in the beginning. Everybody is still a work in progress, which is me also. So, I'm still looking for that same type of love. And even though I know you might not be able to give that back to me, it takes me a while to process that. So, because I'm so used to that type of, that's what I'm giving. So I want to get that back. So some call this difficult. I'm in a place in my life where I call it self-care and not allowing people to continually trample on my heart or to learn lessons as we build back our friendship or our relationship. You can't continuously let people just snatch it, throw it away, snatch it, throw it away. What is that doing to you as a person? How is that making you feel? Are you being taken into consideration when that stuff is placed there before you like that? And those are things that I have to think about on a daily basis when I'm talking about real relationship with people. If I just automatically just let everyone back in that hurt me without taking the time, and when I'm talking about taking the time, I'm talking about at my own pace, not yours, what am I saying to myself? What am I saying? That person will never learn to respect this genuine heart that I believe that God gave me. They'll never learn if you just automatically and just do it just because you might feel bad for the person, but you're hurting yourself in the long run. I may not always have valued myself physically at times, and I'm gonna be very blunt and honest with you because I'm probably gonna get into that within the next episode, like the next chapter or so. I'm probably gonna start talking about sex and how that's affected me in different ways. So I may not have always valued myself physically at times, but if I can grasp onto valuing my feelings and my heart, I truly think that many of the other things that I've longed for in relationships will fall into place. And then I start valuing what I do with my body because I valued my heart and my mind and the things that keep me going and keep me motivated. I've started valuing what I do with my body, with my time, with my energy, and so on. People sometimes don't take time to value your body, and I'm talking about that with everything. Like, I don't always eat the healthiest all the time, or I don't always do, it's not just sex. Sex is not the only way that sometimes you feel like you have to give yourself to all of these people because it just helps you to heal something. But it is something that you have to realize within yourself. Like, you have to give yourself that mentality, and that's what guarded nature is about to me. That's what it means when I'm talking about guarding my heart or guarding who I let in or give access to different pieces and parts of my life. It takes a lot for me to get up here and to even come up with all of these things to talk about on this podcast, because these are like some of my innermost things. But I know in the end, there are many people that have the same thoughts, have the same feelings, have gone through the same things. And if I can reach you where I'm at, I'm just coming to you like where I'm at right now in my process. It's not even a grandiose thing, or I don't even have it all figured out. Man, I'm telling you, I don't have it all figured out, but I know that I have something to say about it. And when you talk out these things, and that's why I can't wait to start getting other people involved in here, because even just me talking, I wanted to get out my main portion of what I wanted to say, but I wanted other people to come in and chime in, because I am not the only one that feels this way. And some people feel so out of place sometimes, feel like they're out of their element, like they don't feel connected sometimes. They don't feel connected to anything or any place, and they try to find these connections in all of these different places. But when you start realizing that a lot of people are the same, and a lot of people are going through all of the same types of things and having the same types of struggles and the same types of feelings, you start to see that connection and those things that we have here within the world. I do believe that there is so much value in guarding yourself when it comes down to it, but I also feel like that can hinder other beautiful individuals or things that you can experience. And I still haven't quite got down the balance of how I guard. For me right now, it's really all or nothing. If you're showing me the halfway effort, I'm giving that halfway effort right back to you or less. And that's blunt, and that's the truth. If you are showing me that you care, I'm doing my best to let you know that I care too, and maybe even more than you care. So I will try to one up you, because like, that's just how much. If you're showing me all of that effort, I'm going to give it back. Now, if you're giving me, I'm giving what you give me, I'm giving you what you give me. And I know that's not always, I don't think that's, when I think about it, I'm like, is that even the most Christian way of thinking about it? Like, I'm going to give you what you give me. Maybe not, but that's kind of where I'm at right now because of me having to guard what this is. I can't continually break down or have these mental blockages because people want to fool around with relationship or fool around with the heart of what I want to give to you, as a person, as a friend, as a partner, as all of these different things. But I've run into many beautiful people that I've been in a relationship with that have given me the same and even more than I could give them. And those are the ones, like, you feel like you might be draining them, because I'm like, how in the heck are you giving me more love than, like, I feel like I'm the love giver, but you're giving me way more. And that like I said, that love, not everybody gets to experience that from each and every person, not just me. Not everybody's going to experience you on the level that you are capable of, because you have to keep that for the people that it's meant for. And I know that sounds really weird and really out there, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. Like, that there are certain people or individuals that you give that more to, because you know that that's what you're supposed to do, and that's what you feel from them. You just feel a genuine connection with them. So you'll always be down to do whatever for them, because you know that they have your best interest and they know your heart, and that's who you let your guard down for. So I know I make people quite like myself many times, which can be a good and bad thing. I've been on both sides of the spectrum, where we are both giving minimal effort and have our guards up, and it's a dud. And then times when we're all in, guards down. That's when it does get a little scary, though, because you don't want to hurt the other person, or you're trying to do everything so right in order to keep that bond that you almost want to start guarding yourself again, because you don't want stuff to go awry. You don't want stuff to go crazy, because it's such a deep connection. You're like, oh my God, I want to protect this, so I'm scared. I don't even want to walk into this, because this is so overwhelming for me that you're proving everything that I've always wanted from a relationship, and it gets scary, and you start to back away a little bit. And that's where you have to start looking at that inner you and seeing, like, what is keeping you from wanting to receive that? Like, is that guardedness of you being a detriment to you? Is it being a benefit to you, or is it a detriment? I think having a guarded nature does somewhat overcomplicate the intricate parts of building relationships, and I'm learning that you can't be scared to fail in everything. I mean, scared to fail in relationships. I failed many times, relationships, friendships, and I failed hard. And you look back on it sometimes and you're like, oh my gosh, if I could grasp that relationship again, if I could have a piece of those different parts of that beautiful relationship that I had, but I was so guarded, or there was such a struggle there for me to love you the way that you loved me. It's something that's going to happen, because it's life. We go through life, and I'm learning that life is not going to be perfect. Man, life is not perfect at all, by any means. And that goes back to me in my TV world. I watch way too much TV, probably, And you get into this false reality sometimes of everything being so picture perfect. And I think that's why I like reality TV so much now, almost to a fault, because even though it may be an exaggerated, dramatic version of what's going on, it does not show the perfections. Reality TV breaks down the imperfections of everyone. And a lot of people call that trash TV. Hey, call it what you want. I like to see the imperfections because I was living in such a perfected world all the time. Everything was always trying to be so picture perfect. Everything was trying to be so put into place. So that actually helps me in ways. You know, whoever thought you would say reality TV is my therapy? That sounds crazy. But in a way, it's real. And I mean, it's a fake real. Does that sound weird? But it's a fake real. But it actually points to what some people really do go through. Seriously, it's the truth. It could be an imitation of what someone has gone through or seen, or an exaggerated version of that, but it is true. It's reality. So failing is a part of life in every relationship, in work, in school, in adulting. It's bound to happen. It really is what you do with it all. How do you handle that failure? How do you move on from that failure? Are you apologetic for that failure? What can you do to improve on that failure before? I'm beginning to try to break out of the awkward stages of meeting people or sitting in large groups by letting my guarded nature rest a little bit. Letting that guarded nature kind of sit on the sideline for a little bit while I get to know people, because there could be some very unique, great, and beautiful people that I could know along the way. You still can't do me, okay? I'm gonna let you know that. Even though I may be opening up here, crying a little bit on here and doing all that, you still can't do me. You can't get at me and expect, do me wrong and think I'm good just because I got this open heart that I'm gonna just let you do whatever with me. That do me came from a very beautiful friend in my life that helped me to know that you can't just let people just do you all the time like that. But I will say, you may have like a swift chop that you may have to have from me just so I can keep my mental health. But I think it's better to try to let that guarded nature down, because you never know what opportunities are connected to your purpose by who you are connected to. I'm going to say that one more time for the people way that may not have heard that or might have been doing something while I said that. You never know what opportunities are connected to your purpose by who you are connected to as well. You may possibly be the link to someone else's purpose as well. Not just another person being purposeful in your life, but you may be connected. You may be the connection that somebody needs to fulfill their purpose also. And I'm going to leave y'all with that today in my truth. And that wraps chapter 9 of Coleman on Purpose, Guarded Nature. What you guys think about that? So, as I was listening to this, there were two things that stuck out to me on this chapter. One that really stuck out to me was the first part that I was mentioning about not blaming church for some of the things that, made me so guarded. And as though I still agree that that didn't attribute to a lot, I will say, as much as I was geeking it up over being able to be creative in church, there were certain limits to creativity that you could do in the church. I'm not saying get out there and wild out, but there were so many different stipulations behind it to where sometimes your creativity could be stifled because it had to be done a certain way, or there was just something that probably wouldn't have rode well with what was going on at the time. But you never know. It was just something that I kind of thought about. As much liberty as I talked about I had, it was a lot of liberty during that time, because that was more than what I could expect from what I experienced later on in life. What I've gotten to come across and the things that I've been able to know about. So for a young adult or teenager, it probably did seem like at the time it was a lot of creative freedom, to do and be. So I do thank them for that part of it. I thank them for that part of it, and I wish there was a lot more of that in the church now concerning creativity and the arts. It's something that's always been on my heart. The other part was just a small part about my genuine heart. And a lot of times we're taught, not to really judge our own self. So I think that's what stuck out to me, was that I said that, I'm trying to protect this genuine heart. Only I can, only another person that maybe is looking in can consider your heart, genuine. It's how I like to think of, what I actually give, because that's what I feel. So I can express that, but only people that come across me can actually determine what a genuine heart is, or what I am showing. But I do hope that is what I am exemplifying in the world. So those two particular things kind of stuck out to me, and I just wanted to clarify a little bit on those things. As I've just been thinking about these things and looking over all of these things about having a guarded nature, I can't help but to think about so many people who are similar to me that live in the world, a world like that, to where they feel like they aren't able to be as open with themselves as they want to be. And I just wanted to kind of just speak to that real quick, because it's so important that we are the most genuine versions of ourselves when we are around people, when we're feeling people, when we are in love, when we are maintaining friendships. It's so important. So there are such things, though, in guarded nature, as you don't want to be just so open to anything, but there are boundaries that I have kind of been learning about a lot right now this year, and setting those boundaries and making sure no one crosses those boundaries. And that's a very important part to learn. Even though you're trying not to be guarded, you shouldn't just open yourself up to any and everything. And what I've really been thinking about over the past weeks is just what are these relationships contributing to my life or to my purpose? What are they doing to draw me closer, or to move me closer to my purpose? I was listening to something, of course, from Mr. Diddy. He said something, if you are the smartest person, if he's the smartest person in the room, he doesn't want to be in that room. So I was just like, oh gosh, that's a very bold statement to say, but I got what he was saying. He's not saying that, just hang, you just be whatever, but he was just basically saying that you're always trying to elevate yourself, you're always trying to move forward, or you're always trying to push yourself to the next level or to the next phase. So make sure you are surrounding yourself with the right people, and that even with the guarded nature that you might hold, open yourself up to other things, because there are people that are out there, but don't just be open to any and everything, because some of those things detract from you moving forward. Some of those things push you forward. So I just wanted to quickly say that right now. So you can see I've been getting a lot more comfortable talking on this mic. So I'm really looking forward to me getting to really express more, and in real time. It won't be edited. There won't be any of that music behind it once we get to our 11th chapter. But before we even get to the 11th chapter, I'm very excited about this 10th chapter that's getting ready to come out. Let's talk about sex. So it's a very interesting chapter. I'll probably have a lot to say before and after that episode also, but it's going to be a pretty cool episode. No guest on this one. I'm going to wait a little bit, and then I'm going to bring somebody around who y'all might like, and he's very entertaining. So tune in next time. I know I'm saying a lot because I'm like so nervous. I already listened to the episode. I'm getting ready to the intro and outro for it. So please tune in for chapter 10, coming very soon in my birthday month of turning the age of 40, and very proud of it. Anyways, I want you guys, make sure you go to Instagram. I'm going to be getting a little bit more active on there now. Go follow me, Deluxe Dave, DeluxeDave. I'm also on TikTok. You can follow me at David J with a dot, Coleman. Please share the Coleman on Purpose podcast with someone who might want to listen. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your August. You are unique, you are loved, and you are created for greatness. Bye.